Good morning, children. We'll continue with the chapter from hunting, gathering to growing food. So first, this is day 2 of this chapter. So first we will do a quick recapitulation of the chapter. This chapter is divided into two parts. One is hunting, gathering, and second is growing food. So first we will try to cover up about the hunting and gathering. This growing food, the second part of the chapter, we'll do afterwards. Now children, when we talk about hunting, gathering, first of all we talk about who were hunters and gatherers. This is a very important thing to understand. The people who used to move from one place to another place and used to hunt animal, kill animals for their food and for their other necessities were called hunters. And the people who used to gather the things like seeds, nuts, then roots, then leaves, stalks, eggs, they were known as gatherers. So now the meaning of hunting and gathering is clear to everyone. Again, I am telling you, hunting is to kill animals. Which animals these people used to kill? They used to kill the birds also. They used to kill the deer also. So, and even the wild animals also. And gathering, they used to gather. What do they used to gather? Leaves, roots, then nuts, then seeds, etc. These things they used to gather. So now hunting and gathering is clear to everyone. Then we, in the previous class, we did about why did they travel. We spoke about 5 important reasons. Number 1, they traveled when the dry season was there in the area where they used to live, like the rivers or the sources of water in that area dried up, right? Second, they follow animals as they have to kill the animals, therefore they follow their prey, and from that reason also they used to move from one place to another place. Third, seasonal. In different season, different areas have different flowers, different plants or different food material. So therefore in different season they travel to different areas. Now the fourth reason is that in one area, if they stay for a longer period of time, the food material of that area gets finished up. That is why in search of that, they again have to travel. And last, to meet their friends and relatives. So how do we know about these peoples? When we talk about all these things, the questions come, how do we know about these peoples? These people. So children, we have started this in first chapter also. Archaeologists, historians have studied about the remains of the past. For example, pots, utensils, manuscripts, then a lot of bones of animals. From that they come to know that what did these people used to do. Then we studied about the uses of stone tools. Stone tools were used for digging the earth, for taking out the bark of the tree, for taking out the flesh from the bone because they have to eat it, etc., etc. Then we studied about habitation and factory site. People, if they only live in particular area, that area was known as the habitation sites. And factory, where people used to make their stone tools, that was known as their factory sites. And what are the sites? Places where archaeologists or historians have found a lot of things about the past, about these people. Those are known as sites. Now children, we come to our today's class after this recapitulation. Again, from hunting, gathering to growing food. The topic which we are covering here is a changing environment, making stone tools, finding about fire, names and dates. So these are the important topics which we are going to cover today. First of all, we will talk about making stone tools. Now children, why the stone tools are important? As I have told you, stone tools were very important for hunting also, and even for the gathering of food also. And only material they know were stone, right? Because at that time metals were not there. So they used two techniques for making stone tools. The first one is known as stone on stone. I have given this picture of this technique on the PPT also. The pebble from which the tool was to be made was held in one hand. Another stone which was used as hammer was held in the other hand. The second stone was used to strike off flakes. What is the meaning of strike off flakes? Taking out the flakes. Like see, if this is a stone, right? So they will take out the small flakes so that the stone should become little pointed. And which was used as a hammer was held in the other hand. Then second stone was used to strike off flakes from the first till the required shape was obtained. As you sharpen your pencil, but now you have the sharpener for doing it. But they do it with the help of the other stone, making it as a hammer and make the one stone pointed with the help of the other stone. And in this case, they held both the stones in their hands. The one from which they are making the tool, that is hammer, that is in one hand, and the stone or a pebble which will turn into a stone tool is held in the other hand. So this is known as stone on stone technique. Now children, the second technique is called pressure flaking. You can see a person here. The person is sitting. This person has put this stone from which they have to make the tool on the base, on the base, and using another bone or a stone to make it more pointed. So here the core was placed on a firm surface and the hammer stone was used as a piece of bone or a stone that was placed on the core. This was used to remove flakes that could be shaped into tools. So I think now these two techniques, which are the two techniques, one is stone on stone and the other is the pressure flaking. So these are the two techniques of making stone tools. Right children? Now children, what is one very important discovery of this time was finding about the fire. Earlier people did not know about the fire. Suddenly I can tell you one story. One day some people were moving in the forest and they suddenly saw the fire coming out. They took some wooden branches and they lit up those branches and they saw, wow, with this they can see in the dark. Even the wild animals, they ran away when they see the fire. And even in the cold night, this fire saved them from the chilling cold. So they were really surprised to know about the fire. But somehow the rain came and the fire went off. They did not know how to light it. So one day when they were making these stone tools, due to two stones, when they were like hitting the two stones with each other, the fire suddenly lit up. and from that point of time they knew how to lit a fire. Now the question comes, how we know about this? Traces of ash have been found near the caves in Kurnool. This suggests that people were familiar with the use of fire. They must have been using this for many things, even to roast meat and to scare away animals, as well as to save themselves from the chilling cold. So these were the some uses of fire, which was the very important discovery of that time. So I think till here it is clear. Now rest of the things I will explain you in the next video, that is video number 2.